One city. One club. We're back. The time is now.
Welcome, one and all. It's NUFC Talk TV with myself, the Geordie Yam Yam, the Mighty Win. We've got Boki and we've got Jefferson from the 90s Mags. If you hadn't seen him before, where have you been? Anyway, it's you could have been a Shearer, but you'll always be an Isaac, an Owen. I balls that one up, didn't I? Before we even start, just seems like our season so far. It's Groundhog Day here at NUFC Talk TV because there's bugger all else out there. So you know what? Let's talk all about it. But before we get into tonight's show, like I say, welcome one and all. There is going to be a slight slant on tonight's programme, but I'll go into that in a second. I'm going to do the housework and then we'll crack on with the show, boys and girls. Welcome to everybody watching across all of the platforms. Thanks to everybody that works in the background. Don't forget, if you would, please smash the like button for us. It just helps us get further as a channel. Subscribe, it's totally free. Hit that bell for future content. We do 7 days a week, most of the time, always live, never edited. If you want to help us grow, you can become a member, small monthly fee, different levels to choose from. And obviously, once you become a member, you can jump on board to the Prediction League if you want. And you can predict all of Newcastle's results this season. Not looking good, that one. So if you get the top six at the end of the season, you will get a prize. Me and Chris come 1 and 2 last year. I want to try and do one better this year. If you've got a question, now this is a big thing. This is the extra slant on tonight's show. Usually we ask you for super chats. But tonight, as a thank you, we want you to throw questions to us on the panel. Totally free. There's going to be no monies asked from you guys. But what we do want you to do is keep the subscriptions, keep the hitting the likes, keep dinging that bell. And obviously, if you want to become a member, that would also help us out. So tonight, and maybe for one in the future, let's see how we get on. If you can help us out, though, by throwing your questions out there, I don't just want random questions. Put a Q in front of it and maybe put it in block capitals or something like that. What we'll do as we go through the show, obviously we're going to get the points of view of the lads for all the crap that's gone on over the last 24 hours. And then what we'll do, we're going to focus on what you want to talk to us about. Because like I say, it's just the same old. Lots of BS out there. So tonight's show is dedicated to every single person out there. Doesn't matter what colour you wear, as long as it's relevant to the stories. And obviously it's not political. We don't know political views or anything like that. And I want you guys out in Viewerland to keep it all nice and clean. And this will be a show for you. It's dedicated solely and purely as a thank you from NUFC Talk TV, obviously in a collab with the 90s Mags. And obviously RCM, which is our sister show as well, if you want to listen to everything Premier League. So there you go. So let's get on with the first topic of tonight's show. Again, lots of rumours out there that Hopkins and Wilson are on board. I can't see anything legit that we've got this new CEO and DOF in situ. So to me, as much as I think it'd be lovely news if it is true, it's nothing in the club as of yet. And like I say, no real major sources, none of the journos are talking about it. So even though I think it's potentially 90% of the way done, they're not in the door, then nobody's shaking hands yet. So I'm going to put that one aside until I get further information. Isak,
knock. I'm from the Jehovah's Witnesses. Oh, come in, sit down. Do you want a cup of tea? Oh, that would be nice, thank you. There's your cup of tea. Right, what you got to say? I don't know, I've never got this far before.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I can honestly say, I feel really sorry for our Andy Bell, because Andy Bell was supposedly going to be part of the panel tonight, and 10 minutes before the show started, he had an electrical cut,
Power
so
cut.
he's got no power at home, bless him. Andy, like I say, jump on board with the questions though, buddy, because you're still part of the show. The same as everybody out there tonight. Please, 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 like I say, don't matter what colours you wear, we're open to any conversation as long as it's not political and it is relevant based. Win, Boki and Jeffo. News of today and yesterday is we were all questioning whether Newcastle will dig their heels in and stop the transfers going forward. Obviously, that seems to be
There's Andy,
where...
still no powers, guys. Once on, I'll jump on. Apologies.
No worries, buddy. How do you feel if this stance is correct? I mean, I have just been reading a report about him training, obviously, over in Spain, but we'll get to that at the end of this one. What's your thoughts on this now with so-called the boss, not having or giving any leeway towards the move to Liverpool? Win, go with you first, mate.
Well, like I say, it's public that him and Eddie are going to have a face-to-face with Isak. So that obviously can't happen until Eddie comes back, which we're led to believe will be Tuesday, although he may get straight off the plane and head straight there on, I think it's Monday morning they get back. They actually land. But anyway, that's going to happen then. And maybe then the chairman's going to have a word with him about the potential. I can't say him looking for approval, but he, at least inform him first, face to face, that this is who's coming in and this is the way it's going to be. Whatever, all of that. But if you're talking about the last couple of days, of course, there was the hoo-ha yesterday with Craig Hope and Simon Jordan on TalkSport, where Simon Jordan basically said that the football journalists wrote nonsense, his words, and Craig Hope defending football journalists and say it's funny, all the nonsense we report, you suddenly start commenting on it. So what research are you actually doing yourselves? None, or words to that effect. But in terms of the negative press which Newcastle generate from the cartel-controlled media is ridiculous. And I just want to highlight this as an example. This was today's Football Insider. Thank you. Harvey Barnes sends heartfelt message after Newcastle exit plan revealed. Now, what does that say to Newcastle supporters? Bloody hell. Harvey Barnes is going as well.
Yeah.
Is that what the article says? Oh, no, not a bit of it. The article goes on to say what an integral part of the squad Harvey Barnes is, and when they left Singapore, he put a tweet up saying, "Thank you, Singapore," with black and white hearts on it. So the thank you message was to the Singapore fans, nothing to do with any club exit. And the club exit, which is referred to in the headline, is actually Sean Longstaff to Leeds, who in an article on the same day, the same Football Insider, when commentating on who Leeds have recruited for their Premiership push following a wonderful promotion, doesn't even include the fact that they've signed Sean Longstaff. It includes a couple of players whose names escape me from obscure leagues somewhere else. And you know, the turn that into an article with a headline: "Thank you, Harvey Barnes sends heartfelt message after Newcastle exit plan revealed." And that to me just typifies the negative aspect of just till I get this in again. The negative aspect of the press against Newcastle United, and it's non-stop now. They are determined, absolutely determined, that we will not get to that high table on a regular basis.
Yeah. Mate, it's like I said, it seems to be fear mongering now. That's how it feels to me. I don't know about you guys. We have got a couple of questions straight in, so I'm going to go to these before I go to Boki. Who do you think will be our striker if Isak goes? Says Mervyn Cox. I think a lot of people were still hoping the likes of Sesko would come on board. I mean, there's a couple of other names out there. I wouldn't mind Sesko, if I'm honest with you. There's lots of rumours that Ollie Watkins has been lined up. But to be fair, if you go back 5 seasons when we paid and bought Wilson on board, Ollie Watkins was touted then. It was Watkins or Wilson
That was
to
when
come on
Watkins
board.
was at Brentford.
That was right, yeah. So it was a case of, the choice we went to back then was obviously Wilson. I mean, was that the right choice back at the time? I mean, you can never say. It's hypothetical now, isn't it? But obviously they chose Wilson over Watkins back then for a reason. So are we now just digging in a little bit to say, well, who's the next best down this line? As Chris has kept on saying, it's a case of now just having half a dozen to a dozen names on a piece of paper and having like a checklist. Once we've inquired, other teams have come on board and taken them away. It's the next name down on the list, isn't it? That's how it feels. Who do you guys feel could be our next striker if Shesko goes to Man U?
Well, again, we've heard this as well. Apparently, within the Man United camp, Sesko is the DOF's chosen option, but Amorim wants Watkins. However, if they get neither, their number 3, surprise, surprise, is Voltemade, who Newcastle were linked with 2 days ago if Sesko falls through.
Yeah, the under-21 German player, to be fair, doesn't fly me with any.
He doesn't blow your frock up.
No, I mean, listen, I understand he's an up-and-coming gem. I think he's certainly one to keep an eye on for the future. But we're not in that situation at this current moment in time. If we had 2-3 strikers on board that had the experience, then I'd say to him, come on board, learn your trade. I don't think he'll suit any Premier League club in his current situation. I think he needs time to find his feet in potentially his homeland and go on from there, if I'm honest with you. You're asking a lot for a young lad to come into another country of his age and hit the ground running, especially at Premier League pace. Boki, what's your thoughts, dude?
At this point, I think it's just important to get someone through the door, a proven striker. I'm thinking, I've said throughout that this is a complete no-go and we shouldn't do it, but do we go for Dominic Calvert-Lewin as the potential second striker, but at least get him on board so that we do have a Premier League proven striker, at least in the squad? At this point, we haven't got
Premier League.
If we are seeing Isak scoring, then we've got nobody to back that up. So I think Dominic, it's not someone who I want, and it's I know I'll get slated for this, and I would be slating myself if I was in the chat.
No, because all what you're doing is being a realist.
Yeah.
I mean, Gary, you're saying Baltimore is not ready. I rate the Bundesliga. I think the Bundesliga is the second hardest league in the world.
I rate the Bundesliga.
Well,
I just say I just
28,
don't.
28 games last year, 12 goals.
Yeah. But what I'm saying to you is that's in his home country. That's what I'm saying. Playing, I mean, I'm not saying the Bundesliga's at Premier League pace because I don't think it is. You have a lot more time on the ball in a defensive area. They build from the back because no teams very rarely press you. And I think, like I say, players in a slow build-up will allow you, especially with his height. He certainly hasn't got the pace to break lines, and that's what I'm saying. He's the type of player that literally relies so much on delivery of the ball within the box. I saw him at the under-21s level, and to be fair, he wasn't fantastic in the under-21s. He's shone in certain times, but
Wasn't he the top scorer and player?
he ended up as the top. Well, he was your joint top scorer. I think he was joint top scorer. But again, when you're looking, you've got, for me, you have to excel at your own age group to master going forward in my eyes. And I don't think, like I say, there was a number of players that shone through that tournament. And he wasn't one of them names that I would go back to on my list now and go, he's in my top 5 players that I'd want to bring to Newcastle United. Because even though he's shone by being, like you say, he was either the top scorer or joint top scorer, when you try and suit somebody to a Premier League, doesn't suit the Premier League in what I saw. And again, that's only my opinion.
He's certainly in my top 5. Now, whether he would have been in the top 5 pre-Pedro, Bueno, the list, everybody's
previous
12. But I think out of what's left, he's certainly one of my top guys. Again, I don't watch a lot of the Bundesliga, but I've watched these highlights reel, and we know what highlight reels can do.
Yeah, see, the Bundesliga is the only other league that I watch apart from the Premier League.
Well, of course, Josh Philly Maggs, our extra time presenter from America, his second team is Stuttgart, and he's he did. If you remember, 2 years. I mean, he played 28 games in the Bundesliga last year, 30 games the season before, the first season they signed him. And when he played in those 30 games, he was actually mooted for Newcastle then, sort of two and a half transfer windows ago. And Josh said he's like Chris Woods. He's a big plank in the middle, which sort of goes along with what you're kind of saying. But he says since then, he's come on a ton. So, and he watches Stuttgart all the time. He watches it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, like I say, hasn't he just moved to Bayern or Dortmund?
No, Bayern have put a bid in for him of 45 million.
Right, okay.
But Stuttgart want 55 million.
Right. I'm
So
going to say, I know.
I say just go and pay the 55.
The thing is, he doesn't look, despite his height and his stature, he's actually quite skillful on the ball.
He is.
And he's got similarities with Kane. I've seen that he drops into the 10 space.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, he's not the one that runs behind. He drops in.
Yeah, he drops in because he's actually a good link-up player past the ball.
He's a give and go, isn't he?
He would only work well if your 2 wingers were inside forwards.
Absolutely.
Like how
we ended the season last year.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
A good example would be how England used to play, where you had Sterling and Rashford bombing on beyond Kane, who would drop that little bit deeper. But we're looking for an out-and-out centre forward.
Yeah. We need. I mean, would you? Do you think he'd be any good as a target man for somebody to run behind?
Forward. I don't class Isak as an out-and-out centre forward.
No, but he runs the. I mean, for me, I do see where you're coming from with that thing. But like I said, it's so hard for anybody not to be classed as a centre forward. For me, he's so icy in front of goal. For somebody to get go 2 seasons with 20 goals plus in 2 seasons back to back is hard in itself. You don't see many top strikers or so-called strikers doing that, apart from the real elite, the likes of Haaland and alike. Very few others have ever done that feat. And that's what I said. For me, as much as he runs the line very well, and I think, we go back to the times where a player can play across the front three comfortably because the way he plays with the football. He likes to run at plays. He likes to work off the shoulder. He can do all of it. And what I love about it is his touch. I mean, I still go back to that goal against Man U, where he lost control of the ball, where it jumped up on him, but he still had that technique to do a sidestep volley to Tonali to hammer the ball into the corner. And that, to me, is just so technically gifted. It's phenomenal, especially when you're under pressure. To have that grace and mindset just to play that ball in was outstanding. Chris Rodriguez, the American Mag, thank you so much. Can you throw that back up for us, Win? Why have we not gone for Palina? Spurs just agreed terms. We are a bunch of Wengers. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There is lots of players out there, aren't there? That I still think could do an absolute job at Newcastle. And we seem to be stalling everything.
There was a comment in the chat earlier on by, I think it was Liam Knowles, about what about Nunez on loan?
Nunes.
Yeah, for the season.
Yeah, you see that's the problem.
There's a lot of people saying, would you take 120 and Nunez?
He just can't finish a packet of crisps, guys. Unfortunately.
No, that's the
yeah,
problem.
but he could.
We've seen it again and again.
He could finish a packet of crisps in Portugal. And look at Chris Wood with us. Anybody looking at Chris Wood when he played for Newcastle would have thought, what a donkey. But anyone looking at him last year, anyone looking for him last year at Forest would have said, my God, what a player. Sometimes things just don't click for whatever reason. And I mean, the 2 goals he took when Pope was sent off, nothing the matter with them. He was hitting barn doors then, all right.
Let's take it. Let's face it as well. He's going to get a bloody good go in the team if this transfer window keeps going the same.
Yeah.
I put
it out there. If they said 120, bear in mind, we were going to pay 60 million for Nunez when we got Isak, because according to Fabrizio Romano, it was Nunez that we were after, and Liverpool beat us to him. So we then went for Isak.
Okay, Jeff, I'll have your say, and then while you're on board, because we've got so many questions throwing in the chat now, dude, talk about your stance on Isak now, with the rumours now that the board have dug their heels in a little bit, and unless replacements are on board, or unless the money's put down from Liverpool, he's not going anywhere.
Okay. So just quickly touching on the striker situation, obviously I would hate to see DCL here, because we would actually be replacing Wilson, because we would be replacing with a fellow injury-prone player. The difference with Callum Wilson was still a 1 in 3 striker. DCL's a 1 in 5, so that wouldn't be a smart option. And I know we're desperate, but in terms of being desperate, I would say we might have to be looking in that 28, 29-year-old bracket. And that's why we're looking at Vissa. And I've seen it in the comments. I was going to bring it up anyway, that we have been linked with Strand Larsen.
Yeah.
Is there a dip in quality? Yes, because we're going from someone that scored 23 goals to 14 goals.
Yeah.
Now, I think he did provide opportunities for others, such as Cunha. So there are people like the likes of Barnes, Elanga, who could profit, Gordon, who can profit off having a striker like that. I think Watkins would be a good option on the basis that he's fired up and he's ready to go in the Premier League. He's got pace. He stretches teams. He might not be the best finisher, but he's actually got a good assist record as well. So it's bringing in more of a seasoned player, not quite a veteran, of course, but a seasoned player. A few sort of other ways we could go potentially is maybe getting someone like Alexander Sorloth on loan from Atletico Madrid. He is forever on their bench, and last season he was a super sub and he got 20 goals in 35 league games. Like, he barely had any starts. I know last time he played in the Premier League with Crystal Palace it didn't work well, but he's clearly matured as a player. Maybe we could get him on loan. And obviously I saw someone put in the chat, someone I've been going on about for ages is Victor Boniface. I just think this guy...
You love him, don't you?
I think he's quality and he's got all the tools to succeed. I think he'd be a hit on Tyneside for sure as a number 9. But yeah.
See, I agree, mate. I think there is room out there. I mean, I've just been having a look at some of the links again, and I'm really happy 9 hours ago there has been some, I would say some approach, but it looks like there's been some interest towards Artem Dovbyk at Roma. I like this lad. I think he's got a lot about him, and I would be more than happy to see somebody like him. He's 28, like you said, at that age group where he's got a bit of experience about him. Probably priced around about 38 million euros. So what's that, about 30 million, 32 million? So again, at the right age, not the right price for me. If you wanted somebody just to go out there and at the other end of the age spec, because I mean, 28 now, you'd be saying he's probably at that peak, if not got 1 year at his peak before the decline. So he's still got a couple of years under him. And I know Chris goes mental when you talk about age, because obviously, unlike Chris, not everybody runs at the same time, the same pace, year on, year out. We do decline with age, especially at the Premier League levels that these guys have to go to. And this is from La Gazzetta dello Sport. That the 28-year-old striker who is finding it difficult to adapt to the Gianpiero Gascarini's tactics has also attracted interest from Villarreal as well as Newcastle. Dovbyk's pursuit of more playing time is motivating him to explore opportunities beyond the Stadio Olimpico. Yeah.
Seeing as he just moved there, if his rival moves on, he'd love that, wouldn't he?
He'd love that, wouldn't he? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it looks very much like he's struggling, like I say, to fit into the tactics. And again, this is another thing that I think, like I say, the beauty of having 4 heads sitting in the same chair here, we've all got a different stance when it comes to who we think would fit the niche, if you like. And I think, we all look at certain players, we all look at certain pedigrees, but Eddie has to look at what fits into the squad. And I think we sometimes overlook that. It's easy to say, and we've done it with Chris Wood. He's been brilliant everywhere else, but he couldn't hit a barn door for us. And that's something that we need to be aware of. I just noticed, and I do apologise because we're a bit late in this, we had Peter Hasty become a member during the conversation. So thank you so much for coming on board, yes, Peter Hasty. And just for everybody else out there, and he's also put another a £2 super chat, Osimhen or Boniface. Why are we not doing this? And again, like I said...
Two reasons, because here's the thing. Jefferson, you'd be over the moon, for example, if we got, well, not over the moon because we're losing Isak, obviously, but you would think it would be a fantastic, it would be an improved situation if we're saying let's say Boniface and Wissa. Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think one thing
what do we do in January?
What do you mean?
When they're both at AFCON.
Yeah, that's a good shout. That is a good shout.
It's a very good shout, isn't it?
Good shout. Yeah, it's a positive challenge. I like that.
Sula!
Sula's there. Yeah.
Hey, whoa! Forget a Sula for me now, baby.
Yeah.
DCL just have to step up to the mark.
And look, I don't know why
Oh,
in
dear.
emergencies, but maybe we should go back to Joe Linton as well. And Barnes. Listen, we keep playing Gordon through the middle. Barnes is a better finisher. I
Yeah.
don't
Well,
see why
I
Barnes can't
think
play through the middle.
Gordon should never play through the middle again, as far as I'm concerned.
But he's too lightweight as well, isn't he? But going back to your point very quickly about someone like a Boniface, what we might have to do, and I'm not in favour of us becoming a selling club,
Or a Nusselman, by the way, because it's the same
we
difference.
or at Osman, we might have to because so like what Brighton are doing, we might need to do a similar thing but on a higher level because obviously we're trying to break into that top 6. So if you look at RB Leipzig and you look at Dortmund, that is their model. They're bringing in players with a high ceiling. They build them up, sell them on for a fee. Fee gets reinvested into the club and they start again. But they're consistently in the Champions League, competing for the league and finishing in the respective top 4. So maybe that's a model we need to look at where we're signing younger players with a higher value. Because I think the problem with signing these 28, 29-year-olds, as we've seen with our dad's army in defence, the squad age is going up. So it's short-term gain, but what about the long term as well? And this is where the new director of football role will be important because there's no point signing academy players if we're not giving them a graduation of sorts. We should start building into our culture that every year, without fail, 1 or 2 academy players will be part of the first team squad. So we sort of start breeding that in. Otherwise, there's going to be no
Well,
growth.
there have been. There have been.
They have
I mean, Lewis Miley is the exception, but that's mainly from obviously our injury crisis, and then we realised, oh wow, this guy's actually good. But we shouldn't stumble across it. It should be, I guess the same thing happened at Chelsea, but they adapted, didn't they? It was only because of their transfer ban that they started utilising the youth. But now it's becoming a common thing that actually their youth is bleeding into their team. Man United have been doing it even as well. I think it's something we need to look to do. And
the other thing about Boniface is he missed 14 games last season through injury.
He had a bad injury.
Thighs and not even the same injury. Thigh, hamstring, knock, and he missed 23 games the previous season with an abductor injury.
Yeah.
And then in 2021, 56 games. 18, 19, 34 games, both with cruciate ligament tears. So are you buying another injury-prone player there?
But I think that's where you do your due diligence, isn't it? And that's what I said. That's what medicals are for, mate.
Yeah.
They go through all the scans and everything else. They go through what they call the figure of 4.
Remember Demba Ba? Nobody wanted to touch him with a barge pole because they said he had a dodgy knee.
That's
Look
right.
how he turned out for us.
That's so true.
But I just think that is probably one of the... let's say if I'm sitting at the top of PIF and Newcastle are wanting to spend money on a player, having ridden through 23-24 season the way we did with the injuries we had then, and having had to put up with the ongoing injuries to Botman and Wilson and Barnes to a degree, is one of their red flags. You ain't buying him. Is one of their red flags injury history. And I think it possibly could be, and maybe rightly so.
Could be part of the reason why
it could be one of the reasons that Boniface has virtually never been even on the radar. Because there's no doubt about it. He's a player.
He certainly is a player.
Baller, there's no doubt about that at all. But there must be a reason why not just us, but nobody's linked with him.
Agreed.
It's a good shout.
Because their team's been raided. Their team's been completely
Andy
raided,
Bell's in the chat there, and he's saying Nunes on loan. Well, there's a thing, we'll take 150 for Isak if we get Nunes on loan for the year.
Yeah, but would you take 130 if you got Nunes for a year? With an option to buy, not,
No, if I would take 120 with Nunes.
120, okay.
Plus Nunes.
See, I would go, because like I said, it's 150 million minimum is what they're touting, minimum, plus add-ons potentially.
Yeah.
Because we always go back to the Coutinho days, don't we? When 2018, bless him, Dave did all the maths and all the figures in our chat, and you don't realise, 7 years ago they got 144 million pounds for Coutinho with add-ons
Yeah.
over the course of him going to Barca. So, and that's what I was having a chat with when Chris was on the show today, and I was in the chat, and I was talking to a Liverpool fan, and he kept on saying it's not our fault if that's what other teams want to pay. So why is it our fault if that's what we want you to pay? If that makes sense, it's as if they're not seeing it from both sides of the coin. In my eyes, it's a case of they're happy when it happens to them, and we saw it with Trent. He'd come into the end of his contract; he was going on a free, and yet they still made Real Madrid pay 10 million for him. What was the real rationale behind it?
With Nunez, I can't say the word, Nunez as well, we're all assuming that he would come here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think he just wants
he
game time.
I think he would, but
Yeah.
can we just assume that? I mean, from the past record, this transfer window, it doesn't look great.
It would be a hell of a challenge for Nunez. I think he'd jump at that for to come and say I can be as good as Isak playing in this team.
Well,
what about Nkunku? What about Nkunku? I know he's got an injury record, but the quality is there. He is a top player. France international. It's just, it could just be what's happening at Chelsea. You look at Reece James. You look at Wesley Fofana. Sometimes it just doesn't work out injury-wise over there, but he could be better with us.
Again, it's that gamble, isn't it? It's like I said, Nkunku seems to me as though when he went to Chelsea, again, it's that competition side of things. He seems very much to me like a player that wants to be involved constantly. He's not a player that likes to sit in the background. Yes, he's had his injuries and unfortunately missed out a lot, but he seems, and again, forgive me if I'm totally wrong here, but since his injuries, he doesn't seem the same player at Chelsea. He seems to have lost that spark. And maybe, that could be, I'm a member longer than 5 minutes, but I can't chat. Says Peter Hasty.
Peter Hasty, I don't know why you can't chat, because it's not restricted to members.
No. You're on board, dude. I don't know why you can't get in there, Peter. We'll have a look into that.
Thank you for your super chat, by the way.
Yeah. That is ridiculous how you can only keep the super chats coming and he gets on there. So maybe you need to refresh, as Chris is saying in the chat.
As I say, you don't even need to be a member to super chat.
No, exactly. Just refresh to see if you can get on board.
Some days we'll make it members only, but not tonight. Josephine?
Gary, just before we get on to the questions, can I just say congratulations to Win for getting through a full striker conversation without mentioning Harry Kane once.
Oh, love it. Absolutely love it. Now you've brought it up, you know where we're going.
Hey, 15 love, right? And both you and Jeff have been on for the same length of time and haven't mentioned Mitchell or a DOF. 15 all.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Keep your questions coming in. So I suppose we can say the final question on Isak, if I'm honest with you, because I've got to that point now with this. We just seem to be going round in the same circle constantly. Your thoughts on Isak training in Spain? Because obviously there's lots of media spec about him back at his old stomping ground. Obviously he's not using their trainers; he's using his own trainer, and apparently he's gone over there for some summer warm training just to get him back sharp, match sharp, and he's obviously just using their facilities now. I can't understand why you can't use our facilities, if I'm honest, because all this states to me now that the lad doesn't want any part to be involved in our club. I've saved 2 on electric,
Andy
so
Bell,
why
I've
not?
saved £2 on electricity, so why not? Win notification.
Is that 30-15?
Let's.
Great. Yeah, exactly. And that, like I say, there's lots of spec out there. I've just been reading in a Spanish journal where they're obviously speaking about Isak training behind closed doors at Real Sociedad. But he's not training with any of the Sociedad players. He's training solo, but just using their facilities. Does that speak volumes to you guys?
If he's training, he should be training with a squad.
Well, he should be over with the
And
squad.
he should be over there doing media duties, whatever. Now, you can argue if he was doing media duties, what sort of reception would he get, and could it sour the whole event, etc. So they'd probably keep him off public media duties anyway. But he should be there facing his teammates, correcting anything that, because as you say, they're all putting this PR face on, reading from the script. And if he was there, they'd be saying, look, we're having to read this fucking bullshit because of you. And maybe he's talking him round, whatever. But he should not be allowed to go to Spain on a holiday and train.
But with all this media attention that's going on at the minute, in regards to him, he couldn't really be with the squad because he'd be it'd be an unsettling influence. Let's face it, it would be until it's either sorted one way or the other. It's going to be an unsettling experience for the rest of the squad, and he can't really train over here in regards to the fact that the full team squads are away. So I mean, going in and out of trade, and he's going to be going in pretty much by himself. And how many fans are going to be hanging around the training ground and things? I think probably just being away from the area is the best thing that you could do. And if he has got a slight injury, which we can't see 100% he hasn't, there's been precedents set with other players. I mean, Joe Linton went across to Brazil to recover from his injury. It's so. And
Bruno's trained with Fluminense before.
Yeah, I think it's fair enough. I think until this situation's sorted, he's best out just completely out of the way of the squad and out of the way of the area.
As I say,
it just puts a bit of a sour taste in everybody with what's going on, doesn't it? When you look at it,
just says exactly what you've got on your banner behind you, Gary.
It's all right, John. Yeah, you could have been a Shearer, but you'll always be an Owen. And I think that is where my mindset. I've always been the one to keep your best players, but to keep the best squad, you've got to have the right players with the right attitude. And to me, at this present moment in time, he's not showing the attitude that you want, and it's got nothing to do with what he can give you in front of goal. Because, like I said, even if we keep him now, I still have massive doubt that he will never, ever be the player that we saw over the last 2 seasons. So we have to make an absolute massive decision on what we do on the next one. So let's throw this on the screen. Rodrigo Andrade, $5. Isak does not want to be here. He should be sold. Isak for Rodrigo plus 50 million, and then get Samu from Porto. Great shout. Love that.
Wow.
I'd go down that avenue all day, every day.
That blows your frock up, does it?
It blows my frock up big style. Yes, I'd feel like a Marilyn Monroe moment, trying to pull it down. If we'd done that deal, I'd be more than happy. For me, it's a case of we've got to start.
Oh, hey! Breaking news! We're acting on behalf of Northern Power Grid now. Mikey Max in that Andy, because he lives up that way as well. Go onto the Northern Power Grid website. It gives you a live map and update when you get your power back on.
Andy put a question in, and I have highlighted it. But as you've got that on now, I might as well say it. Andy's saying, where do I put where do I position the candles And all I can say at this present moment in
Oh,
time
steady.
is right up Darren Eales' ass, because it's unfortunately it may get a shift on with something happening in the background. Because and I do feel sorry for saying that, because the poor lad's got a lot to deal with. But I do feel so bloody frustrated in the current climate with what's going on at board level.
I do
Something
think
needs to move.
George Culkin came out yesterday and said that this all surfaced, really surfaced, the Liverpool tapping up, for want of a better expression, in Salzburg. When they went to Austria.
When they went over Austria, yeah, exactly.
That was when the rest of the squad found out about it.
Yeah, that's when the squad found out about it. But apparently, we knew as a club in April, because I believe he'd already spoken to somebody, and it was through the lines of knocking on the gaffer's door and saying, "Can I have a conversation about my contract?" And from that contract conversation, he made the assumption that if his contract isn't what it should be, then he will be seeking to go elsewhere. That was being touted. I don't know how true that is.
And we've got Andrew
Go on,
Warwick
I don't
saying, "When are NUFC going to get that power back on?"
It's been 2 years now. That's
2
spot
years
on.
now.
I think
Spot
me and
on, Andrew.
I think me and Jeff has a bit with tongue quite good on this all night. However, in regards to Isak, if he has known he's wanted to go for that long, and Eddie has such a fantastic relationship with every player and knows them inside out, sure enough, he has to have known that he was where the
He
situation
did
was.
know. That's why I said earlier I felt pissed off that we've been lied to for all this time.
Yeah,
And it's exactly the same with Eddie coming out and saying, 2 days into his holiday, and then he finds out that Mitchell was leaving. That's bullshit.
Bullshit, that is.
100%.
Absolute bullshit. All that. Listen, I have every respect for a coach that protects his players, and he's obviously thrown a blanket over this one so it doesn't get leaked. And that's why I think the club are really at loggerheads now with Isak, because it's Isak's agent that's leaked this. It hasn't the club that's leaked this. It's all come from Isak's side. And now, whether Isak, and again, this is a question, and so I might as well go with that question before I'll throw it up on the screen, because it was a good one. Bear with me. Well, I'll see it here. There we go. Terry Thomas. It's not my brother, by the way. If the tapping up thing is true, why hasn't the club complained to the league? Well, like I said, I think that the biggest question behind that is, one, you've got to have confirmation that it is a tapping up. And I'm sure they'll have people in the background that will be looking into that. Because, like I said, he made this quote apparently in April. But I don't know whether there was any mention of the club that he would go to. I think what's happened from this conversation, where him and Eddie have obviously spoken, Eddie's told him to stay at home. He didn't go to Celtic for that reason. His head had been turned at that point. And I think now the club are really peed off, because all this conversation, all the journalism that's gone out there has been directly coming from Isak's agent. Now, to me, that's like putting a jemmy in the door, because, you've got a player who doesn't want to play for Newcastle anymore, and the only muscle that player's going to get is by all of the fans turning against him, completely tarring him now with a brush, saying we don't want you anymore. And that also throws weight behind the player, because the player said, how can I come back to a club now that fans won't support me? So all of this thing that's happening at the minute is just supporting his move.
But we had this. We've had the same argument the opposite way around in regards to players we've went for. We've had agreements in place, seemingly with them already, before we've even had a bid agreed.
Oh yeah.
So can we sit in a greenhouse and throw stones? I suppose is the question.
Absolutely.
NEW was saying Isak's agent was supposed to have had emails from April saying Isak could go.
Source?
So, well, exactly. So, where have you seen
that?
NEW?
That's what I said. It's the big wide web, isn't it? Everybody just puts something out there on social media, and it runs like wildfire. Andy Bell has put in another one here. Would you guys look at Hinsel the lad at Brighton, if Willock's going to be out. Any news on Willock? I haven't seen anything on that injury either. That's gone completely quiet.
That's gone completely. But I think that's probably, I'm saying, good news. It's not as bad as we at first thought it might have been, because we were thinking, months. But Eddie's quote was, "It's a bad injury, but it's not a bad injury," or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Connor was saying that
A major injury, but not a major injury.
Yeah, I think Connor was saying in our chat that he'd seen somebody had posted that he actually walked onto the bus after
Yeah,
the
he
match.
did. That's definitely been.
Yeah, I haven't seen that video, to be fair.
He's a player I think we should sell if the links to Fulham are true, where they would be willing to offer 25 million.
Might have missed the boat on that now, though, because I would definitely have sold him.
When you've got to have this one, mate. Where's my 5th place prize? Says Sean.
I've messaged him privately saying I'll get back to him after the show. I thought I'd sent it. Well, I'm pretty sure.
I thought it had already gone. So you have to have a word with your postie hells.
Yeah.
But that's certainly gone.
Definitely
we'll have a look. Yeah.
What happened to all the talk with Conor Gallagher? That never materialised, did it? There was.
Well, it's like a lot of these rumours, Andy, isn't it? You look up, you look at the amount of linked players that we supposedly been going to, and it's a case of 1 minute we are really keen and approaching the venture. And then the next minute, it's like we've pulled the plug. Now, again, I read the reports this morning that the Mark Gay situation is back on and picking up a little bit of storm. So again, I don't believe anything anymore until I see him wearing a shirt, mate. That's how I feel anymore. It's like all this is just clickbait stuff. It's journalism at its best. As Wynn's just seen there, a player that supposedly sounds like he's leaving, or he's going to be the next domino effect to Isak, and it's nothing to do with it, and that's where I think all this is. Go on, mate. You've got it on the screen.
Conor Gallagher, the last, because I was looking for that again. So because I happened to be on Football Insider for the Harvey Barnes bullshit, I looked at that. But this was the 10th of July. So I haven't seen anything red hot since then. But Conor Gallagher's a player I would, again, I think Gary and I differ on this, but I would.
Win. How much would Conor Gallagher cost? Really?
45.
So let's just pay an extra 5 million and get Edison. This is what I don't get. We're getting players that are kind of average players. They're willing to run and work hard.
England international.
But how are we going to evolve as a team if we don't get players that are really good in possession and can really assert themselves at a high technical level? Because we're going into the Champions League, and essentially you get someone like Edison, they replace Joe Linton straight away because it's the next level. This is what we need to be looking at, rather than he puts in lots of effort, he gives us lots of energy. This is what we have with Willock. We need to get beyond having runners.
It's
we
what
need
we
people
had.
that can pass the ball. We need people that can cut through the gaps when we got a low block.
It's what we had with Willock 2 years ago. We've never had it since.
Willock, you see with Joe Willock, and I know people might not like to hear this, but we got to see the best of Willock under Steve Bruce, who used him as an attacking midfielder, and he was closer to the striker. He would arrive late into the box, or he'd have enough space to dribble into, etc., to get into a dangerous area. And on the left central side of midfield, you're seeing a lot of defensive work and he's going backwards. He tries to join attacks, but someone with him that doesn't have... He's got endurance, but in terms of physical endurance, he's getting injuries. In a midfield 3, you're never going to see the best of Joe Willock. But I think the next stage now is getting people that can keep possession, which it looks like Eddie's trying to do in terms of what I've seen in the last couple of games, actually, which is encouraging signs. So let's recruit players that then fit into that style, not just people that's going to give you effort and energy and getting up and down the pitch. I want to see people holding onto the ball, passing the ball, incisive passes, some realms of sort of technical ability.
Yeah. Listen, lads, we've got Even on YouTube, we've got over 500 watching on YouTube right
Yeah,
now.
we've got 800 altogether. So please,
And
please,
we've
please
only
smash
got
the likes.
81 likes. Come on, give us a break.
Yeah,
Hit the
but give
like.
us a break. Hit the
Hit the
like.
like button,
Right then,
people.
let's have a quick look at some of the earlier questions. We've done Hell's. Steve, by the way, has got a couple. Mitchell was right about needing to expand the scouting network, and the recruitment strategy was poor, wasn't he? So I think we've nailed this one, haven't we? We've said, some of his content, Mitchell was absolutely spot on, and I think some of it he was probably a little bit too hot worded. To again, two immovable objects. I believe that's where it was, and one of them unfortunately had to give. And with the weight behind Eddie's previous seasons, it was Mitchell that went. I don't know where this one goes, to be fair, because again, we're talking speculation. We've said from day one that, especially Jeffo, and I know Boki has got a good lot of words on this subject about the scouting network. It's not fit for purpose. There isn't enough of them doing what we need. And I think, if I'm honest with you, this season, during this turmoil, this last couple of weeks, I think we've noticed a massive difference when it comes to only concentrating on one signing at a time. So there's definitely a weakness somewhere. So I'll hold my hand up. I can only say now what Mitchell was saying is bang on correct.
Well, the only reason what Mitchell was saying is bang on correct right now and proven by this window is because we haven't got anybody doing his job and we haven't got anybody doing the job above him. It's actually got nothing to do with the scouting network.
But
It's
when
to
you
do with people doing the deals, signing the checks.
but when you were the one that advocated that at the end of last season by praising Eddie for storming upstairs and demanding that Mitchell went and taking over the
Absolutely.
transfer.
I wanted to, yeah,
So,
Mitchell's been a
so,
disaster for this club. What's he done?
but
So,
Eddie,
well, so,
this
so have
transfer
Andy
was a
Howe and
absolute
cronies.
disaster.
No,
They
Andy
flunked.
Howe and Steve
They
Nixon were
flunked.
responsible for
That-
all the signings that
They
were got
had their
after the
chance and they
takeover.
flunked. They flunked.
Yeah,
So
I
let's
knew that
get
was going to
a
debate. That debate
director
was always going to come
appointed.
hot.
We've done this one to death, right? Andy Howe and Steve Nixon are not writing the checks.
But they're doing the negotiations.
Yeah, and what they're having to do in negotiations
So,
is
so
say,
the
right,
hard work is the
hang on,
negotiation. The
hang
checks
on a
is
minute.
signing off.
Wait till I get on the phone and see what we can do. No, that's too much. All
When,
right.
when, how do you know they're not writing the checks?
Well, I don't know, but neither do you. We don't know
It's
what
all
anybody's
spec, isn't
They're
it?
doing.
useless, mate.
So
They're
you
useless.
can't use that as an excuse.
No, they're not.
If you don't know that's the right, that if you don't know that's the truth.
Well,
So
if,
we
if,
had.
if you talk to people in the know, in the game, they're doing an excellent job scouting.
So the two
Yeah.
windows we
Who said that?
had was it Nick Hammond, and we had Ashworth.
Yeah, Nick Hammond come in to support us when Ashworth went.
Need a director of football in place. These boys don't know what they're doing. They're out of their depth. Eddie had his chance. They've had full control, and they can't sign anybody.
Yeah, but this is what I can't. Why not get Hammond back in during this time?
I'm
This
not averse
gap.
to having. Well, they've already got. They're getting Ross in and Hutchinson allegedly, and again, I think this will probably happen next week, whilst the chairman's over. I think that'll probably all be. I think we're going to get because we're due a plethora of good news. So I think that's probably going to come out next week. This week, apparently, Yasser's not even in the northeast yet. Because the photograph on the golf course, which I immediately thought would have been Close House, where they have a lot of the board meetings, turns out that was East Stafford golf course that he was on last Friday, Monday or Tuesday, whenever it was. So he's not even up here yet, apparently.
Do you know one worry that I've got about the all the speculation that there has been about these two guys coming in is that in the reports it said Eddie's give his blessing for these two to come in.
That's crazy.
He shouldn't even it shouldn't even be a question to him. It should just be Eddie. these are your two new
You're
bosses.
in. Get on
Yeah,
with
Well,
it.
get on with it.
was it in the green room when I said, or was it on air? I think it was on air when I said, yes, that'll come. And the reason he wants a face-to-face with Eddie is to tell him how it's going to be.
Yeah, like I said, I think there's certainly been a couple of months, if not longer, where there's been very little communication between Eddie Howe and the boardroom.
And then we'll see what Eddie does.
No, here's another one.
Ross Wilson's got links to South America as well, isn't it? Look at what he signed: Danilo, Murillo.
Look what he's bought to Forest.
Gonzalez at Forest. So I hope Eddie's ready for that, because Ashworth tried already to sign South American players. So I just hope he's willing to accept it.
How would you know that?
Well, it's what was floating around. It's what was floating around.
It was there in social media when it was there. Steve, by the way, again, with his second question.
Oh, the Colt are coming for us.
South Park media.
Do we need a manager with more pull?
Like Kenny.
Yes.
If the club's struggling, perhaps having a manager known outside Bournemouth and Newcastle can help, says Steve, by the way. Again, this is another topic of debate between you guys. And like I said, all I want to say to you is, exactly. I do agree. I am going to agree and disagree on the same point. I sometimes don't want to say the door is there.
Bookie, you can't have it both ways.
The way I look at it,
Gary can.
the way I look at it is, you have to be careful what you wish for. I totally agree with that, and I've seen the plights in the past. The other thing is, and I'm going to ask this point blank to all three of you and everybody out there in viewerland. What bloody coach would come to this club at this current point of time in this situation? An elite coach. Name me one. Because I wouldn't do it now, never mind.
Anybody who's anywhere but the top six.
The only manager who's made it very evident they want to be at our club on numerous occasions has been Jose Mourinho. He's the only one. Obviously, we've seen him friendly with Yasser. We've seen them talking at the Formula One. But would he come with that lack of structure behind him? I don't know. I doubt it very much.
You keep pulling it off.
I'm not a Newcastle fan, but I've enjoyed listening to your opinions over the last week or so since I found the channel. Keep it up. Thank you, Shane.
Brilliant, Shane. Thank you ever so much, buddy. Keep on board.
Let us know who you do support. Just out of it.
And like I say, if you could just give us the thumbs up, then, buddy, it helps us massively as a channel. And like I say, you're more than welcome to come on board with your views as long as it's relevant. Nothing political. And again, I just want to say out there in everybody that's come on board with some of the questions, thank you so much. And again, it's football relevant. We don't mind what colours you wear. We are a Newcastle channel at the end of the day, so we are going to have black and white tinted glasses most of the time. But we do listen to opinions as long as they're relevant.
Boogie and Jefferson don't have black and white tinted glasses.
They do. Of course they do. They just have opinions which differ to yours.
Hey, Win, come on. I was quite positive the other night. You
were for about three.
I made you happy.
We got 45. We got 45 minutes into this without being negative at all about anything.
Listen, we spent 35 minutes on trying to decide who striker is. So I mean,
when we did a public thumbs up request the last time, we jumped from 80 to 157. See if we can jump over.
I salute you all. Thank you so much. Again, this is
the like button.
This is a show for the public. Again, this is you guys
on YouTube.
Yeah, come on board. Come on board with you. 200. Terry Thomas again. Do you really want to buy another rat like Isak in Wissa? Now, this has been doing the rounds over in social media, and I'll be honest with you. I'm a little bit perplexed with this one. We haven't gone beyond Brentford's backs. We've gone directly to the club and inquired about a player that was, it's like every other player in any other team, potentially available. So for me, an inquiry does not create the behaviour that Wissa has created.
And by the way, Wissa was promised Was Wissa
So was
promised-
Isak. So what makes it different?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Wissa was promised last season that he could leave for 26 million to a Champions League club. That was what he was specifically promised last summer.
I'm going to jump on that just before you go any further, because I know there's lots more content regarding this. They were also told only one out of the two of them would be sold. Both of them were told that, him and Mbeumo. So once again, Man United come on board, and again it's pickpocketing time, because as soon as we show any interest in Wissa, what happens? Man U find the money to buy Mbeumo, even though they were trying to squeeze as much money out of them as they could on the cheap, lowballing. So for me, it's a case of if both players knew the current situation, only one would leave. Why is Wissa doing what he's doing? Because he's no different to Isak.
Like Ali said, Vissa's taking the pisser. That's a great comment, that is.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, well, I was unaware of the second part of that argument. I thought that had only become a recent Brentford decision. I wasn't informed that was part of the conditions that he was promised last summer.
Yeah, like I say, for me, I totally agree with where Terry's coming from with this, because, like I say, it feels sometimes as though you're going from the pot into the fire. With these players, again, what promise is he going to get made by our club if, I don't know, another team comes knocking on the door? Is it going to be the same situation that we find ourselves now? So, like I said, I certainly don't want to be hypocritical on this channel and say, we can't have one thing with Isak and shout, that he's doing wrong when we see the behaviour of Wissa doing very similar. Now, again, reading into the Wissa story, and I totally agree with what Win has just said. He has been made a promise, and he also promised to turn up to the ground and train. What he refused to do was train with the team. He doesn't want to know any of the tactics. He doesn't want to jump on board saying that he's a turncoat because he's going to move their tactics on to whatever team he goes forward to. If it happens, and again, this is all speculation, because again, all we have done is made an inquiry to Brentford on if he's available and how much, if he is available, would you want for him?
And Brentford said he was available.
And I think
for 50 million.
50
because now Mbeumo's gone. So that 26 million has gone, because they have to find a replacement. And in a similar situation to the recent argument that we all had by why have we kept Wilson for so long? It's and your argument has always been, if he goes for 10 million, who do you get to replace him with for 10 million pounds? So Brentford are in the same situation.
No. I have every sympathy with Brentford. I've got every sympathy with Brentford and their fans. What I'm saying is, I was unaware that that other clause that you're on about was part of that. You can go for 26,000 as long as it's to a Champions League team.
I think part of the problem with this as well is that
that's good tactic by Frank, apart from anything else, because it's saying, if you want to go for 26 million, you've got to have a really, really good season so that the Champions League team will come in for you.
Yeah, and then Frank goes.
And that's exactly what he's done. And now the rug's been pulled from under him. But again, I was unaware of the other condition but only one of you. And now he's done off anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of the problem is that we're going through the whole Isak issue at the minute in exactly the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
If we weren't going for that, would we be too bothered about what with the whole Wissa thing and the fact that he wants to come to the club? I don't think we would. I think it's just simply down to the fact that circumstances are that we've got the better striker going through exactly the same thing who's at a higher level, but you can't say that if the Isak thing wasn't going on, that we wouldn't just be like, yeah, well, he wants to come here, so
it's all down to pecking order, Liverpool are there, We are there.
Yeah, exactly.
And Brentford are there.
Just seen in the chat very briefly, because there was somebody, obviously, I can't remember who it was now. Bear with me a second, because they're asking where the
I've
source
starred
was.
most of the questions.
Yeah, I've seen it, mate. Yeah, thank you
was
for
a
that,
question.
because that helps us out. I can't remember where it was now, but somebody was asking about the source of where we've just heard that from. And again, I managed. It all come through Sky Sports when Wissa and the Brentford deal was being done. The deal was that they had, it was Mbeumo or Wissa that was to leave. It wouldn't be either of them. And the money that, again, what Wynn says, the 26 million was what Thomas Frank, apparently, again, that's speculation because I don't know anything about that. That's just out there. Apparently, that's coming from Brentford, saying that if a Champions League club comes in for you, then you're allowed to leave. But only one of you can leave. Now, obviously, Brentford are holding on to Wissa for £50 million because they do have to replace him. And like we've said before, there's very few strikers out there. I mean, what did he get? 19 goals?
Yeah.
Wissa.
Non-penalty goals.
Non-penalty goals.
Yeah.
And there's very few players out there, under £50 million that is going to get you a return like that. Okay. That's why Newcastle are going for him. And that's why I said I have all the respect in the world for Brentford for playing hardball. Very similar situation to we find ourselves just playing the hardball with Liverpool. We can't be soft clubs anymore.
You would have thought we would have had a bit of an advantage, though, wouldn't you, at Brentford?
Well, a little bit.
Phil Giles, their DUF, is a lifelong Newcastle
fan. Yeah,
born
exactly.
and bred in Newcastle.
He needs to have a word with his agent, because we saw this play out with Harry Kane a couple of years ago. I think the year before he moved, his brother, I think, who's his agent, messed it up because it was a gentleman's agreement, and everybody knows you can't trust Daniel Levy. But he said to him, "Yeah, we'll let you leave," and they didn't let him leave that year. So if it's not on a contract or written in stone,
yeah,
you're knocking your head against a brick wall, aren't you?
Of course you are. Absolutely. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like I said, I don't want to sit here and say, this is what's being said out there, because you guys out there are reading the same stuff that I am. And a lot of this is BS. Because we're not involved in any of the clubs. We know what journalism's like. I've been watching and reading the Echo now for the last 3 weeks on the Isak story, and everything I've read. I mean, somebody's just put in the chat now that the deal's nearly done. They're going to put 60 million down plus 60 million add-ons, and you're like, come on, that is like, I'm sure he must be a journal for the Echo, because it's absolute rubbish what they write in there. And I mean, Jay's saying I would pay 50 million for Wissa.
So
and that's what you've said. Yeah, you've said it. Get it done.
We're desperate.
Yeah, get it done.
I mean, over the line.
The lad on the channel this morning that was on with Chris, he was saying, you've got money, right? Why don't you spend it? And I said, unfortunately, we've also got a ceiling regarding PSR, which is unfortunately what Klopp bought in for us. And we have to be looking at not just throwing money at individuals if we can lowball it. And that's why I think going on to the Ramsdale issue, and now again I'm going to probably get slighted for this, I don't think it's a bad deal, the loan deal. And again, because there's no force to buy at the end of the loan. If it doesn't work out, what is he, 27? We can just say
it's nothing, man. Yeah. Everybody's whittering on about the 120k a week, right? 120k a week at £6 million a year. So we're getting them for a £4 million loan fee, which will be deducted from any transfer fee that we're paying, and I can't remember what that was. That was something like 27, I think. If we wanted to buy him, it was going to be 27 million. So we're getting them for 4 million on a loan, and we're paying them 3 million in wages. So we're getting effectively a 7 million 1 year loan to make our minds up. I wish we could do that with every player.
Absolutely. And like I said, what is it? The total spend is going to be £10 million, which in today's, money, it's a drop in the ocean, isn't it, really? I mean, it could be, hopefully he becomes the player Was he in the team of the year 2 seasons ago? Is that right? Am I right or wrong?
3. It was when
Was it
Arsenal
3?
when Arsenal finished second when they blew it.
Yeah, I'm going to say, and you could see from then the ability that the lad's got. And like I said, the one thing that worries me is the 1 or 2% that Eddie Howe wanted with feet, you're going to lose with the ability in the air, because that is unfortunately where he is a little bit lax. But again, you're reliant on the lads in front of you. And I keep saying this, you're only as good as the defence in front of you. And we've all seen what happened over the last few games. Win. You were whinging about the 120k, you pancake.
Not me whinging about 120k.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? To be on the same wages as Isak is nuts.
I think he may be referring to the 150 million, the 130 million pound a week, which Kelly was on, because we got Kelly on a free, and we paid him 130 grand a week. Because the reason he was on 130 grand a week was because we got him on a free. So if he was on what he should have been on, whatever, 50, 60 grand, same as the rest of them, we were paying him 100 grand a week, which is 5 million a year for 5 years. So that 5 million a year for 5 years is costing us 25 million pounds. But we got him for free. We sold him for 20 million pounds. So he was definitely worth. No. Anybody would have paid 20 million for him, because it was worth more than 20 million when we bought him. His market value, that was only because he was out of contract. His market value then, Liverpool were in for him for 50 million.
Because he was very injury prone before at Bournemouth, when he looked talented from what I saw.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all the Bournemouth, back in the net, the Bournemouth channel, when we signed him, they were gutted because they said he'll go on to play for England before Gay does. That's how good they rated him.
His current value is 16 million euros, Win, and his highest ever value was 18 million euros 2 years ago.
No, that's what he went for. They are what he went for, not what he was bought for.
We signed him,
your value is what somebody's prepared to pay for him.
Well, that's what a lot of the Liverpool fans were saying about Coutinho, wasn't it? They don't put a price on a player type of thing. The value of any player is what the opposing side is willing to pay.
It's like a house. It's like what you were saying.
Of course it is.
Before.
Yeah.
A house is worth what somebody's prepared to pay for it.
Listen, I go to car auctions regular, and I go in with a purse in my, and a pocket full of money. If somebody outbids me for the car that I'm looking at, I can't do anything about it. You know what I mean? I've only got a set price to throw down at it. And I'll be honest with you, I can probably understand why Isak has gone to Spain. This is outside the training ground.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying earlier on, that, you can't have a player coming into that and the hostility that would be outside the ground with people standing around. You know for a fact it would happen, that there would be
absolutely, mate.
A certain aspect of people that would stand it. And can I just say, we'll flip the subject completely for Ramsey onto Kelly. Going back
from Ramsdale.
Sorry, going on to Kelly. Ramsdale, do we think he is worth 120 grand a week? Is that a good deal that we're paying? Is it £4 million in loan deal, and then paying him that amount of money per week?
It works out at 10 million for the year, doesn't it?
That's 10 million
pound for a season. Is that really a good deal?
Well, that's what I said.
It gives us a season to find out if it is or not.
If that's what I said, and then you can negotiate. That's what I think. That's what they're doing.
Then you've got to pay 25 after.
Yeah.
So that's 35 million.
Well, no, except we've got to pay 21.
Yeah. No. Well, his
the
value
loan fee will come off the.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said. The whatever you pay now comes off the negotiation end at the end of the loan deal, which is what happened with us, wasn't it? Who was that with now? Who went out on loan and then got sold? I can't think what it was.
Yeah,
but they paid a lesser an amount.
Oh, that would have been Kelly.
No, it wasn't. It was Louis Hall to Chelsea. When we had him on loan, and then we paid what we paid on loan off his valuation at the end of it.
But the big problem is, if he does do well, as has been proven this season, would he sign for us? Would we go in and buy him, or would a bigger club come in and think, hang on, he's a canny keeper?
Well,
Well,
And then
it's definitely, and I think rightly,
it's the shopping window,
it's
isn't it?
definitely
Yeah.
an option to buy as opposed to an obligation to buy.
Absolutely, yeah. And I also think at the end of the day, we
And
could have
listen, if that's the case, it means he's had a fantastic season for us. So it's win-win.
It is win-win, but we could have an Anthony Gordon situation here, Win. Anthony Gordon was win-win when he signed a new contract, and he hasn't been the same player since.
And when you look at it from a respect standpoint, he's literally on the same wages as Isak. So he must be looking, saying, see, this is what I'm on about. You've got someone that's nowhere near my level, and they're on the same wages.
in fact,
Right.
we're not even willing to sign him permanently because we're not sure on him, but we're willing to pay him the same
Yes,
wages.
it's a gamble as
But-
well. So
but-
it's
but what-
really insulting. It's really insulting.
Not
the thing
really
is, because
insulting
It
at
is.
all.
It is, Win. It is. To your star player and star striker, the fact that you've got some keeper that got relegated on the same salary, make that make sense. It's
Because
mad-
that's the
madness.
salary that he's on at Southampton.
We need to negotiate better. We need to negotiate better and say, you come here, you prove yourself. You're the one on loan.
Well, he's just
We're
he's
not
just
giving-
gonna,
we're
he's
not
just
giving
gonna
you what
say
you're
no.
asking
I'm not going to go. I'll just stop. I'll
You got
stop
re-
Southampton
you
in
got
the
relegated.
championship on 120 grand a week.
We're in a position to say, listen, we're a Champions League club. You got relegated, so without us, you're still in the championship. You want to come here, we need to negotiate a little bit. Because the thing is, the Isak situation, I know it looks unlikely, it still might be salvageable. It might be quite similar to someone talked about on TalkSport about the Modric transfer, where Modric got blocked to Chelsea, ended up having his best season at the club, and then went to Madrid the following year. Or if you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, yes, his numbers came down in that 08-09 season, but he was still decent enough knowing that behind the scenes they'd agreed for him to go the following season. There's no reason why we can't salvage the situation and say, look, we'll let you go next season where we'll be a little bit more prepared, just give us what you got kind of thing. And give like a mini increase and say, look, we can give you 180, we can give you 200. That's our limit, but on the proviso, you can go
Are you
next
talking about
season.
for Isak?
Yeah.
Isak, you've got to start at 250. If you want to have any hope of retaining him, you've got to start at 250.
But if
And-
there's a guarantee that we will sell him on,
and then probably 50 add-ons.
Yeah, but I think you can have a sweetener, can't you? And I think this is where it becomes, when you look at the amount of, 6 goalkeepers, how much of those keepers...
That's a question in the chat about that. Has anybody ever asked Eddie about the goalkeeper situation? Because
it is
to me,
getting ridiculous.
It is ludicrous. I mean, I can understand Brody because, we've retained his registration, so he's still registered as a player, but essentially he's not there as a player, he's there as part of the coaching team. So people say, why? And he's only getting 8 grand a week. So people are saying, why not take him off the books, play him, put him on it? Because it's costing you nothing to have the registration.
But can I pick you up on that, Win? We wouldn't be paying 8 grand a week to a coach. So you
What do you think? What do you think we're paying like?
We're certainly not paying them 8 grand a week. I wouldn't. If we're paying £8,000 a week for a keeper coach, on a bloody good wage.
Well,
I would think we'd be paying them at least that, every one of them.
Well, our CEO was on 21 million.
the average Premier League goalkeeper coach salary ranges from 77,000 to 83,000 a year.
Yeah.
Which isn't £8,000 a week.
No.
No.
I'm going to say it's usually.
So how can we justify saying we're keeping him on as a coach, but we're paying him as a player when we're paying him what?
77's 14,000 a week.
No, it can't be. 77,000
77,000.
divided by 52.
Nah.
When can you become my boss?
I'm going to say.
I've got a note in the wrong place. Sharon.
I'm going to say you definitely have. Oh dear! I wish I had a note in my pocket. Well, I have got a note in my pocket because there's no pounds in front of it. Listen, I understand the sentiment behind all of it, and like I said, sometimes, and I think again, Dave's just come on board. But he hit an absolute pot, and I think you replied to it, Boki. I think you said about he come on board about the coaches, didn't he? And he said something about you can bring on personal coaches. You know these. What was it?
Oh, motivational speaker.
Motivational speakers. That's the word. Yeah. Motivational speakers. If you want to get people motivated, you don't need to pay players to be leaders or something like that, wasn't it? Because obviously we were talking about leaders of the pack. Again, you know, some great insights for anybody out there. Again, Newcastle fans that haven't been involved, please have a look at our chat. Get in touch with Chris. In the link if you want to get on board. There is some really good background and insights into all things Newcastle and beyond, if I'm honest with you, because we do talk about other stuff as well. And just while I'm on,
that Hoddle used at the World Cup.
What was that, mate?
I wonder if the woman's still around that Hoddle used at the World Cup. Remember her?
Oh, what was her name? Nancy.
Nancy. Oh.
Oh man. Was it an Italian surname or something?
God,
The chess model put it in the chat.
Oh.
Yeah, somebody will come up with that one in a minute. But yeah, they're out there, aren't they? You know, these people that obviously try and get that extra 5 or 10% out of you.
Mind you, I think that
Eileen Drury.
Eileen Drury, there you go. Yeah, there you
I
go.
think we've got one Eileen Drury and Win, haven't we? Really? So
7 minutes ago, guys, I've just read a post that Alexander Isak will return to training with Newcastle United upon the return from Asia next week, which is Monday, I believe. Club reiterate not for sale message, despite LFC sucking his agent off. I think that's I'm not sure that's a legitimate site.
Your expression there.
But I've read it anyway. So there you go. Like I said, it's all a bit tongue in cheek, and there's no nastiness. Not from me anyway. Dexter, let's get on to the next one. Keep Isak and his agent wait until the end of the transfer day. Give him alternative. Goes on loan to Saudi. Take 50 million a year, or no playing time for you. He and his agent deserve this treatment. Do you agree or disagree?
It's hardball tactics. I'm all for hardball tactics now.
It's a World Cup year, so he won't want to.
He can't afford to sit on the line, mate.
Yeah, that's where we might have him.
But I think that is the only weight behind us at the minute, though, bud. If I'm honest with you.
the only problem with that sort of strategy is if we don't get anybody else in and we're expecting him to stay, then we end up in this situation where they do come in with a massive offer and take him off.
But then you've got what we wanted in the first place. The only trouble is then you haven't got the time to go out and rebuild with the money.
Yeah.
That's what I said. It's that bloody devil and angel on your shoulder, isn't it? Do you play devil? Are we in the same situation as the elite clubs are, where they've got a squad behind them and can play hardball? I don't believe we are. And that's what I said before. If somebody comes in, if they come in with a low ball offer, have we got the bollocks to say, no? I don't think we're in that situation yet.
Yeah,
You've all gone quiet.
If they come in with 150, like I said,
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, that's what I said. And I've said this before. Liverpool have got the driving seat at the minute. They've got a player that wants to go. They can come in with a low ball offer. It's up to us then to say yay or no.
I think we should do everything we can. I still think we should do everything we can to get him to give us another year with the promise that he can go next year, and we'll reduce the price next year if he performs. So, because what will happen next season is Arsenal will be back in for him then. Barcelona could potentially be back in for him then. Who knows? Real Madrid might even be back in for him then. In order for that to happen, he's got to perform. Whether we like him or not, whether we sing his song or not, if he wants that move, he knows he's going to have to perform.
Carrot on the end of the stick.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's what it is, isn't it? It is crazy.
Your camera's gone off, Gary.
Disappeared.
Yeah, you can hear me though, can't you?
Yeah.
That's cool. I'll stay on board because I'm just going to get the next question from Mark Racing on. Has anyone asked Eddie why we have so many goalkeepers, and that's exactly what we've just said. I
That
mean,
was why I put it in, because Mark had put it in.
yeah. It is a crazy one, though, isn't it?
It is. You look at Gillespie. Okay, Vlachodimos we know all about. That was just to get round FFP. The double dealing between us and Forest. So we know why Vlachodimos is here. I still don't know why he hasn't been given more of an eye over than he's had, because, like I say, when we did the watch along in the whole pre-season game, when just after we signed him, and he looked all right to me. He was in the Greek team that beat England. So how bad can he be? I don't think he's as good as Dubravka or Pope. But at the time, Pope was injured, so why was he not on the bench? Well, he was on the bench a few times. But as for having two keepers on the bench at any time, to me, that is just nonsense.
Had the press ever questioned Eddie on that? Because
Never.
I can never remember them saying, Eddie, why are you putting two keepers on the bench instead of putting a younger player on?
Exactly, just to get him into the...
If
nothing more than to get him into the first team routines and get to know the players and how they carry on and how you have to purport yourself,
It always looks like Eddie just trying to prove a point that we haven't got enough first team players to fill the bench.
Well, that's probably... there's probably a lot of truth in that as well, and I don't necessarily think there's out wrong with that either. But whether AIF are taking any notice at all of who happens to be on our bench at any one time, I've got me doubts. When you haven't got a CEO who gives a shit.
Yeah, I'm not doing the full Monty, by the way. That's just come up in the chat, and I'm just looking for some candles, Andy. Boys, I'm going to put this next question on, and then I'm going to jump out while you guys discuss it, okay? It's from Andy Barwick. There you go. And I'm going to jump on because my camera's gone AWOL.
Well, like you say, why haven't we been linked to any midfielders? Well, we are. We've been linked with Conor Gallagher, for starters, which is another player that divides opinion. We have actually been linked with Edison from Atlanta. And I agree with Jefferson, excellent player. Who else have we been linked with? Ramsey. Would you class him as a midfielder? Kind of. At Villa, we've been linked with. But we definitely, we've effectively lost Willock. We've sold Longstaff. So, literally, we've got 4 midfielders now.
But we're doing things the wrong way around. I think the biggest thing is if you're the selling club, you get a replacement before you sell the player. Or you at least have the replacement set up. We just seem to scatterbomb everything. We've scatterbombed transfers all season. So we've jumped from a striker to a defender to a goalkeeper to a right winger, rather than just sort of keep going it with one position or put multiple bids in, which seems to be impossible for us. And it's the same with the midfielders. We've sold the midfielder before we brought someone in. And a big point that people have made on the channel loads of times that we've got a better squad this season. We haven't.
Oh, no, we haven't got a better squad.
We've got a worse squad at the minute. We've got a better team, potentially. That's
only because arguably you're saying that Isak's still here and we've got a Langer instead of Murphy.
If Isak's still here, we've got a better team. But if Isak's still here, we still haven't got a better squad.
No, I agree with you.
We've scored a lot worse, but a lot of people come on here, and I think Chris says it as well, that this is probably the best squad. It's not. We're squad's not great.
The best squad we had was pre-23-24, when we had the Championship League qualifying squad and we bought Tonali and Barnes. 2 quality additions to the squad. That was the best squad we ever had. But of course, we all know what happened then. Denali gets banned and Barnes breaks his foot. So that went out the window.
When I have listened back on videos like 2-3 weeks ago, and you were saying that this is the best squad.
Well, presumably that was before Isak said he was going.
Yeah, before Isak said he was going.
Aye.
Yeah, we've got VAR. We have got VAR. Listen, I mean, like I say, it is an interesting point now. Like I said, because when you look at an amalgamation, and there's been somebody again, I'm just going to have a quick look because I have starred it. Because it is Lauren. Welcome on board, Lauren. I haven't seen you before. You can say "suck it up," but it's not as easy as that. It will ripple for the rest of the team. Are we in a situation now, in this current climate, with very little direction? And there's somebody else put a really cracking question. Again, I'm going to come to this in a minute because you three are probably the best at dealing with this one. Are we at a crossroads now at the squad level, where we've seen players, captains, leaders come out and, again, throw a blanket over the current situation, because that's all they've done. It's a cover-up. They're trying to put a Band-Aid over an open wound, and just push it aside as if it's not going to affect them. This has to affect you as a player going forward, because it affects where the project's going to go. Because, without your top striker being involved in this club and unfortunately not being able to get a replacement, you are at, again, certain players. Look at our back line. At the tender, I think, was it 200 years old? Something stupid like that. Oh, yeah. I looked at when you put all of their ages or something like that across the squad. You have got to start questioning where we're going to be next year, and who is the next domino that's going to say, you know what, this project has gone stale. I'm going to look for something else that's got a bit of a shining light at the end of the tunnel, because this one seems to go dim. Are you not fearful of that happening?
Well, I'm just thinking about what Bogey said about how I said we had the strongest squad. Before the Isak debacle and after Alanga, we had Pope and Dubs in goal. We had Trips and Tino at right back. We had a fit again Lascelles along with Shea, Botman, I'm just writing them all down, Botman, Byrne and Murphy at centre-half for two centre-half positions. We had Trips and Hall, Trips and Target, with a potential for Byrne to move across or Murphy to move across at left back. We had Tenali, Bruno, J7 obviously in midfield, and then Miley, Willock, Longstaff. So we'd always had that, so we can't be any weaker with that. And then right wing, we had, all of a sudden, we've now got Alanga and Murphy instead of
Almiron
and Murphy. We had Wilson and Isak in the middle, which and Asula, which we had last season, so we're certainly no weaker than that, and which we had end of 23-24, which was when we got Tenali and Bonds, which we still had. And we had Bonds and Gordon on the left instead of Gordon and ASM on the left. So that squad with at least two for every position was the strongest squad we'd ever had in recent times.
Just to quickly answer that, I think Wilson went. And when we're
so since then we've lost Wilson.
When we're having this discussion, Longstaff had just left, so there was when Nalanga had came in. So yes, the team was better, but the squad was weaker. But I think we should try and answer the questions that we're getting put to rather than argue on the point.
But don't you think we're all missing a trick? I think questions have to be asked. I liked that Eddie played some academy players against Celtic particularly. There was quite a few of them that came on. But the ones that I'm not getting into the whole debate. I'm just saying the ones that Mitchell had signed apparently had a lot of potential. So why aren't we seeing those players? The Salia, the Turkish boy, who is
Pivas.
meant to be touted
Pivas.
as the next Arda Güler, Cordero, and there was one more, Pivas. Where are they?
I don't know.
Particularly Pivas, because Pivas was
Well,
meant to be a centre
particular
back and
Cordero for me. I don't know why we haven't seen Cordero, except that instead we saw Sung for obvious reasons. Going to
yeah.
Korea. Why they couldn't have maybe taken them both? What that would have cost extra in the trip, I don't know. But
because we could be missing a trick here. There could be one of the academy players that steps up, fills one of those positions, kind of like what we saw with Miley, that saves us in excess of 20, 30, 40, 50 million pounds.
except what we
Give
have,
these players time.
except that what we have seen
could
is that none of them have stepped up.
But
Could you just
what about
remember that-
those ones we just mentioned? They haven't played.
Yeah, what about
Why
Salah?
aren't they playing?
What about Kual?
Yeah, I mean, Salia, I mean, like I say, he was one of these players touted to be able to play across the front three. Why keep playing, the likes of Asula through the middle when you know what he can give you? Why not have a look during these the Asian tour?
Well, I say that last 5 minutes, that was very instructive for me.
Well, I
he
like
looked
that new kid.
Proper live wire.
Yeah. I mean, the crowd, I was watching it back afterwards during the commentary, and thank you, everybody that tuned in during the live watch along, and some of your comments were fantastic, so thank you very much.
And we've just cracked the 200 likes, folks.
Yeah, I was just going to say thank you so much for knocking. And while we're on that, please, I just need to remind you all, have a look at the 90s mags. Go and have a look on YouTube, subscribe, link, sister club to us. And also we've got RCM. I keep saying RCN. Obviously, that's my nursing background, even though I'm not a nurse. It's my medical background. It's RCM. For our other sister club, talking all about the Premier League. Again, YouTube, go and hit the subscribe and have a watch of that if you enjoy that type of stuff or this type of content. But please come back. Kenny W here, he's talking about Tammy Abrams. He's one that's gone by the boy over the last 2 seasons, hasn't he? And I mean, again, I would say mildly linked to us in times without any real concrete produce coming from that, but again, doesn't seem.
I've gone to Benfica now, to Napoli now.
I don't know. Like I say, he was one of them players that seems. But is he happy? That's what he's asking. Is Tammy Abrams happy? Well, I mean, I couldn't tell you that because I don't really follow Tammy Abrams.
Let's hope so.
Well, I'm going to say, yeah. I mean, I don't pay his wages, so I couldn't tell you.
Besiktas, apparently.
Oh, Besiktas.
I'm pretty certain he's
went to Turkey, says Terry Thomas. Yeah, exactly. So he's over in Turkey land. So again, I don't know. Chris Hoskins. So I'm going to try and get as many questions in as I can because we've had loads. And again, this show has all been a case of or been allowed for you guys just to throw all the questions out there for us to try and answer or at least give you an opinion. And I hope it's gone well. So Chris Hoskins has said, why haven't we gone to Salzburg to get the next Haaland? The next Seshko, Karim Konate, is dubbed the next Drogba, and he's scored loads of goals. He's 21, fast eye for goal. I mean, Salzburg seem to be that type of team that produce one hell of a lot of players. So is it something else that we're missing out on when we're looking around Europe, but not going to teams that are potentially bringing players in? Or I'm going to say this. I don't want to sound as if I am putting a needle in the cartel because I'm not. For me, when you look at sister clubs, there's a lot of teams now that are linked to certain clubs, and because they've always gone back to those clubs, they seem to have first choice for any upcoming stars. Mm-hmm. So, is it the fact that a lot of doors are closed in and around Europe at certain clubs for us?
There was a comment in the chat earlier on, I think probably from a Liverpool fan, I'm not sure. I think I started, but there's that many stars now. And he was saying that John Henry, who's the Fenway Sports Group top man, apparently he's buying a club now for less than what they're paying for Isak.
Yeah. That's what I said. There's loads out there. I'm
think
still
in
not
regards-
sure to... Go on. Sorry, Andy.
Sorry, I was just going to say in regards to the last question, I think we're very blinkered as a club, and I don't know if it's just simply because we've got such a small recruitment team that we're not looking at a lot of leagues players. Even we'll say we're not looking at South America or anything like that. We're not looking very far in Europe. We're very, very focused on big leagues or players that are big players in the league. We don't seem to have we haven't got the capacity where it's well known to actually look at players like that. So it's a really good point that there are probably loads of players out there that, and as Jeff has said, you've got South America where there's a lot of players, but there's also teams around Europe and things like that that we're just not in the league to be able to look at.
Yeah, and if you can get in there first before they're touted as young stars, where the big guns it keeps the price down as well.
Yeah.
So you need to cast that net, don't you? You need to get out there and have a really good look around.
that was one thing that Mitchell was doing, and we've got the fruits of what he's.
Yeah, but that's all local stuff, though, mainly, isn't it? You know,
you've just mentioned the kids that he's bought from here, there, and everywhere that are in the academy now.
Yeah, he's bought half a dozen in. But what I'm saying is, a lot of what he's tried to do is he's tried to go out there, the same as the Man Cities do, the same as the Chelseas do, and look for lower league talent that are shooting well above their age group, and that's what he's tried to install within the academy. And that's, like I say, young players playing above their age group to try and get them at that readiness to come and jump up into the first team. But as we've witnessed, and you've already mentioned, there still seems to be a gap, a void between the two.
It's all very well blooding youngsters in the first team, but if it's costing you Premiership points, it's a suicide mission.
I do agree with both of you, though. I also agree with what Jeff has just said, because he sometimes, as you've seen with Arsenal, I mean, you look at the lads that come on, that 15-year-old, you know,
Dawson.
Dawson. I mean, he tore a back, you know, bloody a new backside out of our lads when he come on through the middle of the park. He looked so comfortable for a 15-year-old, and again, you know, it's a friendly. So they are more relaxed. They do show a little bit more promise than they do. I would have liked to have seen Alfie Harrison a little bit more, if I'm honest with you. It's a shame that the lad only got a little bit of a blinkered because of what happened to what's his name, Willock.
Yeah, but you were really concentrating on the under-21s last year, weren't you, guys?
Yeah,
and
well, I wouldn't say really concentrated. I was having a look at them to see if there was any.
Well, you watched most of the games, didn't you?
Well, the ones that were
the ones that were televised, the home games that were televised, yeah. And you were saying at the time that Alfie Harrison didn't look as though he'd kicked on at all.
No, but again, you've got to say to yourself, you've got this Dermoid that come in and changed the way they played. So poor Alfie Harrison was played as a centre midfielder, a right winger, a number 10. He was just trying to fit the bill because you'd got the likes of Munda and players like that were sitting in the deeper roles. It was where you then place Alfie Harrison, and because we didn't really seem to have an outlet on the right hand side, because you'd got Sanusi on the left hand side, then you got Kowal come back, because don't forget Kowal was out for a few months with a thigh injury, so he was literally being part of a jigsaw puzzle. And again, like I say, you know, players sometimes suffer without continuity at the same place, you know, all the time. If they're getting moved around, you don't always see the fruits off the tree. So again, I think this season now they've got a new guy on board. I'm hoping he'll have more of a steady ship to go into. But again, you know, why not send Kowal on this on the Asian tour and have a look at him? There's lots of players there, I believe, that could have been on the plane. And had a look at, just to like Jeff Howe said, have a gamble. Terry Thomas, again, last couple of questions because we come up to 2 hours. What about Paqueta? Has to be worth a punt at 13 million West Ham. Apparently, all the talk now is the charge has been nullified.
The charges have been absolutely squashed.
Yeah. So is he
But
worth a punt at 30?
where's the 30 million come from? Because I've looked, I saw that in the forum last night, and I went and had a look. And they want to build a team around him. And if he wants to go, the starting bids they're looking at are 45. And I would think it's going to be at least 45 to get Paqueta. I would love to see Paqueta. Oh.
Am I? You guys happy with Paqueta?
100%.
Quality player, got good chemistry with Bruno. It'll be
With
good
Bruno
to see
and
him not fighting each other for a change, because they're always
it'd be nice,
fighting.
wouldn't it? Yeah,
But
it would be
he's
nice.
a 10, isn't he? So, would we change? How would we accommodate that? But to see
Yeah,
him,
but
be
you
great.
see, I like the look of that though, Jeff. Simply because it stops Bruno then from having to go box to box, because we know he's not a box to box boy. He hasn't got the recovery. Then you're reliant on one player to cover literally the rest of the park to support you from doing what you're doing. So I think, for me, getting somebody in that advance role, which is where Willock's supposed to be, by the way, in the last couple of games, didn't see a lot of him. And that's what I said. For me, paying 30 million, if that was the starting bid type of thing for the likes of Paqueta, it wouldn't be a bad starting point for me. And then probably reaching some type of agreement at 40. Mercury Diamond's coming with this one. Are content with how things are going forward with the squad. As a top of the tree, they should be pulling out of all the stops to sign people, regardless of the Isak nonsense. How is handcuffed?
Well,
Thoughts?
I agree, but obviously Jeff thinks he's got all the power in the world, and so does Borky.
But you said that, Win.
No, I'm said he's deciding on who comes.
It's the same thing, isn't it?
He's not deciding on how much we'll pay for them. If Eddie had the decision, he'd just say pay it, because he wants them. But obviously he's not allowed to.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, look, I don't think he's got as much power as people say. I think it'd be foolish for any club to give all of the rights to the coach, because we've seen it in the past. Look at Manchester United. They've been allowed to gamble. They've spent 800 and some odd million pounds in the transfer market, and unfortunately, the coaches have made a rick after a rick. So I think you are tying your hands behind your back to try and eat your sandwich.
You'll like this one, Gary.
Yeah, that was my next one from Adventures of Rex.
Van Hecker of Brighton has been linked now. He's got a price of 50 million.
I'd pay it tomorrow.
But
a really talented player. I mean, there's not a lot of people like him,
I think he's a good technical player. I think the thing is, he would be a Fabian Schär replacement on the basis they play.
Yeah.
But for me, then what you have to do, it spells the end for Burn or Botman for me, because I still think one of the pair has to have pace. And Van Hecker,
Van Hecker's got pace.
But has he got burning pace? I'm talking about recovery pace at the back. I've not really seen that from him. I think he's very much in that Schär style where he's going to be able to play it from the back. So you need that partner who's got more of the raw attributes, whether it's a Gehi, whether it's a Diamande. So for me, that would spell the end for the left channel.
Do you guys think that Sorry, boy. Go on, mate.
No, I was just going to say, can you rely on your fullbacks for the pace?
Well, it depends on how you want to play. If you want to go down the wing and have that overload.
Pitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Van Hecker's top speed in a recent UEFA Nations League match was 30.94 kilometres. So how does that compare with...
Compare that to Mickey van der Ven. I think Van der Ven is
39, isn't he?
30, yeah. It's quick, but it's not very quick.
Yeah, but I mean, do you see Mark Gay as being quick? Because I've never really seen him with pace.
More of a powerful player, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, what I like about the likes of the Van Heckers and the Mark Gays is they give you that extra cover in the six, because they drop into the six.
Van Hecker as well has got the brain, and so if you're playing Botman, the both
there you go.
Have. So
there you go.
That makes up for a lot with pace. You don't necessarily need it if the two years
if you can read the game.
You can read the game and you can come off each other.
Yeah, but again, there's a lot of people. I mean, Terry Thomas saying Botman's lost a yard since his injury, and I think that is true. The one thing I also think with Botman, I always used to say with Botman that he's got this ability, like you've just been saying about reading the game. I haven't seen it over his last couple of games. Well, I haven't seen a lot of him over his last couple of games, to be fair. 20 minutes, you just don't really get to understand it, do you? But I do like Van Hecker, and I said that right at the start of before all the Isak shenanigans. I did say, for me, if the Martin Gay wasn't the one to go to, it would be Van Hecker. I just think he ticks too many boxes for me for a player, like you said, he's a Fabian Shaw, but plays with a brain rather than just, a dog up without the leash type of player.
Gay is 30, near enough 34, 33.92, 34
similar
kilometres
pace then.
per hour.
Yeah.
No, that's 4 kilometres. Halfway, Gay is halfway between Van Hecker and Van der Ven. Van der Ven's 37.
Ali's
Bit of a freight train.
Ali's putting the chat there, wins 1 mile per hour.
on a good day.
AKA the slug.
Yeah, Scouser on the Whittles come back with Getafe for the cheaper than Isak.
Yeah.
You've got that one.
Sorry, I put that in before.
Yeah, Liam Knowles question. What's the order of importance? Centre forward number 1, centre forward number 2, centre midfield or centre back?
Good
Crikey.
question.
They're all important in
They're
my
all
eyes.
important, exactly.
They all have equal rights to be. And again, it's availability. I think if we are going for one player, and I think that's the problem, Liam, I don't think it's a case of which one's important. I think it's how fast we can be at negotiating the one before we move on to the other. Because at this present moment in time, we are snail pace. And, what Andy was saying before.
We're like our back four.
Yeah, what Boki was saying before. Why can't we cast a net over several, and then when the clubs come back to us and say about availability, you deal with it at that point, rather than deal with one, wait for the club to respond, could take a week, and then, hold on, so he's not available, I'll move on to the next one. I totally agree with what Boki was saying before. Cast the net wide and deal with the situation when the information comes back. Don't seem to be doing that very well.
That's the thing, isn't it, Gary, about what we would expect if you have a director of football in place. Is I remember when Jose Mourinho was complaining about not getting Harry Maguire, because when he revealed, he said that Harry Maguire was third on his list of 5 centre-backs. So that's what should be happening. You've got a list of 4 or 5 for every position, not just, right, let's centre in on this one player. Because if you shoot and you don't score,
but
you're in trouble.
You don't honestly think that is the current position?
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
I don't think
I haven't seen any evidence that it's not. That's the problem.
I'm pretty certain that they have got a list and a pecking order, and the problem is they're too slow working their way down it.
That's not what we're saying when we weren't saying have a list. We're saying go out and actually go to the clubs and put offers in
Same
for these
time.
players at the same
Cast the
time.
net at the same time, and then just wait and deal with individual clubs as they come back to you. I think that is an absolute, I thought.
Yeah,
well,
okay. So just supposing, we've gone for Ekitike, Sesko, and Pedro, just for the sake of argument.
Well, I'll tell you now, we don't get any of them.
yeah. But I'm talking about start of the window.
Yeah.
Right? So we've gone to their clubs, and we've said, right, we're interested in your players. That's what we're prepared to pay. And let's say we offered the 60 million that we offered for Pedro, and Brighton come back and say, yeah, we'll have your 60 million. So we've got one number one choice. And possibly number one because he's 60 million. What happens if then, I don't know, Sesko comes back and say, yeah, you can have us for 60 million. You can have me for 60 million and the clubs agree that the terms as has just happened. So we've all agreed everything. And we do that deal. And then Brighton come and say you can have Pedro. So you've missed out on your number one target. And I'm not differentiating between which is the best and whatever. But you've got your number one target. but you've put your bids into your 4 clubs like you were suggesting, and the 5th one comes. Let's say it was Wissa, and Brentford come and say, right, you can have Wissa for 40 million.
Well, then that's where negotiation.
So do you take him then?
But that's where negotiation comes into
well, you can't have it both ways.
If you've got a bid accepted for one of them, you don't have to tell the other clubs that you've put the bids in. You go to the other clubs and go, the club that you haven't got a bid accepted, the one that you really want, and go, look, I've got a bid accepted for a striker here. I'm going to sign him within the next week unless you guys accept this bid.
Gives you leverage,
more leverage, which we haven't got at the minute.
Yeah,
if they know you're the solo target, then they've got you to ransom.
That's right, absolutely. I've just seen this. Van Hecken is 30 kilometres an hour. Al Botman is 39 kilometres an hour.
Wow.
Higher than Van der Ven. I don't see that. I haven't seen that.
I had this argument with Andy Bell, and we got the stats up.
Yeah, I've just seen, and I think we need to address this because, like I say,
Van der Ven's 39, by the way.
Yeah, Jagsman, FFS, you all get off Eddie's back. He proved with cup wins he can't cut it when going gets tough. During the lows since he joined with 2 Champions League spots in 3 years. Wise up the haters. You're not real supporters. Now, listen, if you have a look under, he's over there. If you have a look under his name, he isn't called the Happy Clapper for nothing. I'm not called the Geordie Yam Yam for nothing. I am Eddie
Howe's #1 fan, by the way.
Yeah. And listen, we've all supported
Eddie Howe. I refer you to my previous evidence, me lad.
Yeah, have a look at the videos. Jagsman,
have a look at me post-cup final.
Honestly, mate, this is 100%.
I am Eddie Howe's #1 fan, bar none.
Do you know whose fan I am? Newcastle United.
Newcastle United, I'm going to say.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. There's not one man bigger than the club. And whoever's in the hot seats, I'll support. But if I have to criticise it, I also have to criticise it. That's being a fan. If we just sit back and agree with everything that's happening behind the scenes, then you have to question the type of fan you are. Doesn't mean you're not a fan if you agree with it. All I'm saying to you is, if you're happy with the current situation, like he is, then great. That's fine. But you can't criticise these guys down here if they've got a different opinion to use.
I'm far from happy with the current situation.
And that's what I'm saying. And he is the Cappy Clapper in chief. And if he's not happy...
But the reason I'm unhappy, as I've said from day one, is not because of anything Eddie Howe's failed at. It's because of the Premier League handcuffs that have been on him ever since day one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I must admit, like I say, I don't think anybody can knock what Eddie's achieved. No. I think, like I say, over the last 3 seasons, finishing just outside Champions League in his second full season at the helm.
With those injuries.
With all that injuries, yeah, absolutely. And again, listen, we can nitpick here and say, if it wasn't for the likes of Man U doing this, and if it wasn't for the likes of Man U doing against Villa, we wouldn't have got Champions League this season. We know what he's achieved. The problem now is, what can we achieve if we don't get it right going forward? And I think that is where we are as fans now. And this is, I don't even know we've spoke that much about Eddie Howe tonight, if I'm honest with you. Because we've been talking about everybody else apart from Eddie Howe. But there you go.
Well, everyone's got an opinion. We're here to give our opinion. But you're quite. If you don't think it's right, that's not an issue whatsoever. Then you're more than welcome to your opinion.
Absolutely. Again, Liquid Metal Man. I love this one. There's not enough footballing people between team management and the owners. All the ones that are winging it. We need people with drive, invention, and certain times aggressiveness. Now, for me, that is exactly where we haven't been. And again, going on from the previous guy that was saying, I can't remember his name. That's what we're on about. We're on about where we go forward. We're not mentioning Eddie Howe going forward. Yes, we've mentioned him saying, has he got too much punch? Has he got too much power in the hot seat? And does he need to give a little bit of power back? But by doing that, you need the right DOF in situ, which is something we've been missing for a very long time. You need a CEO in situ, which we've been missing for even longer, because even when Darren Hills was there, he wasn't there, obviously, because he's allowed things to get going. And like I say, wildfires go wild for a reason. There's just far too much wind behind them.
And
How
not
does
no
stuff always
firefighting.
get leaked? This is what I don't understand. Who is leaking stuff? Because some of these top clubs, if you notice, you don't hear anything, and you just hear that they've signed a top player. You're like, oh wow, where did that come from? Whereas with us, there's always this build up. We're
Like we
interested
did.
in him. We're interested in him. Where does this get leaked? Who's doing this?
Like we did when we didn't have a DOF.
Yeah.
When we got Gameras and Burn.
Oh, we did. We had Hammond. We had
No.
we
He
had
came
had
in way after
Ashworth.
that. Came in way after
We had
Ashworth.
Ashworth was there for
Ashworth
Tonali.
came in after
Ashworth was there for Tonali.
Ashworth was doing his garden and leave at Brighton. We had nobody. We had Eddie and the boys.
How they doing now, Win?
And we got Trippier without anybody knowing anything about it.
How they doing now, Win?
They're doing
you ever
just
watch
fine.
Dad's Only
They're
Game?
doing just fine. Thank you very much.
I think we're heading down that line.
Yeah, we've just done 2 hours, guys. So I think we're going to call it. This is the last one, and I bet again it's an interesting one. Josephus During. There's a very interesting post by a journalist that says Sesko is concerned that if he goes to Newcastle, a bigger club might come in for him. He may not be allowed to move on based on the Isak's treatment. Any truth behind that, you think?
No.
He's going to Man United because of the name and because he's probably going to get more money.
Well, and he's going to be first choice striker. I mean, I think the first thing that came out, pre the conversations from Sesko was his agent said, and again, this isn't speculation, this is from the agent's mouth, he wants first team football wherever he goes.
If Isak is still there, I'm not going.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where that progresses, if I'm honest. But I do think we are, like I say, we are over 2 hours. Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, thank you so much for throwing some great questions at us. As a panel, I'm hoping that we've served you well. This has been a program for you guys out there in Viewland tonight, because I'm just sick of saying the same old, same old. It is Groundhog Day here in Newcastle United. Thank you, Win. Thank you, Boki. Thank you, Jeff. And like I say, please smash the likes before you go. Thank you for getting over 200. Don't forget to go and have a look at 90s Mags.
232. Come on, get the 250.
Thank
Get the
you
like
so
on the
much.
way out and get
You've
with a
been
250.
fantastic. Thank you to all of the people that have super chatted as well as we've been going. Chris, Peter Hassel. Sorry, Peter, that you've had so much trouble from in the chat. I'm hoping that gets corrected for you. Andy Bell, Rodrigo Andrade, and Shane, Josh Hodgkins, and Ali. So thank you all so much for your kind contributions. It's been a great show.
I don't think we should, Ali. No question.
Yeah, I did.
Why.
I did.
All right. Good
I
man.
did, right at the end.
You,
as it come up. Thank you, Ali.
Thanks, Ali.
But like I say, thank you so much to everybody out there that's contributed towards this special show, I suppose, because like I say, it's been a bit of a different one. You are joking me. You are joking me. Listen, the candle's still not lit by the looks of it. Andy Bell is still in darkness.
Oh, man.
The
Is
candle.
No, I just wanted to say one thing to Win.
Go on then.
I just wanted to say one thing to Win. Did I not say last Thursday that Sesko would not sign unless Isak leaves?
Yeah, you did.
And you said I was wrong. You've just literally contradicted yourself there and agreed that Sesko wouldn't want to come.
I was obviously reiterating what you'd said.
All right. Just you swore blind, you blew murder that I was wrong last week. I just thought, just when you ended there, I had to come on and try. Well, that's obviously you can't see us because I'm like Shakespeare and the talk here, but
look
yes.
at him. Where's the candles burning, mate? Where's the candles burning?
Oh, mate, I can't find them now. I've got any battery on my phone. I know.
Andy, I have got an apology to
make. I can't because Wallace's kicking us. I just wanted to get that one on with there. I'll see you soon. Take care, everyone.
Take care, buddy.
See you later, kid.
I can't believe I'm actually getting on my phone.
Yeah, you did well, mate. Well done, you.
Sorry, guys.
So there you go. Andy, right at the death, just coming to say hello and goodbye, I suppose. So it's a goodbye from them over there.
And it's goodbye from them over there.
Yeah, exactly.
And them over there.
Again, thank you so much for joining us. It's been over 2 hours. Great content tonight. I wish you well. And we'll see you tomorrow. I'll be me and Win tomorrow, 2:15, with a daily update, if there is one.
If there is one. We'll find something to talk about, no doubt.
I'm sure we will. It's a goodbye from him, like we've just said. And away the lads.
Away the lads.
There you go. Away the lads, lasses and bairns. Thanks all. Thanks, boys. See you soon.
Bye now.